meat of my experience was actually in career one,
Okay.
which was in the performing arts. And when I transitioned over to corporate America from the performing arts, I noticed very rapidly, I said, oh my goodness, there's so much more drama going on here than there ever was on any stage. Look at what's going on. And you know, when I made that transition, Peter, into corporate America, I said, all right, well, let's see now. What dance are they doing? What's that little dance that they're doing? And I'm going to have to learn that choreography. And what's the costumes they're wearing? I'm going to have to get me some of those. And I literally, when I studied this, I was, you know, I would be in ballet class, and I'd be hanging onto the bar and doing the exercises, and I'm overlooking Boylston Street. And I'm noticing all these people in these beautiful navy blue suits, and they're carrying their briefcases, and they're just so darn important. And whenever the ballet dancers saw these people coming, we'd be like, oh gosh, that's the, you know, these are the business people. And we had to be very careful for the business people because they didn't understand us as artists. And you know what I didn't realize? They were afraid of us. They were afraid of us because they had no idea really how to manage. That was their first mistake. Manage ballet dancers. That was the first mistake. They didn't know the business of our art. And so I was consultative in that time because for whatever reason, they felt like they could talk with me. So I would just kind of, that's where I really began consulting. Is whatever set of reasons people felt they could talk with me, they could share with me what was in their innermost mind. I transitioned from the performing arts world. I was with a boutique consulting company that was located in New Jersey. And I worked with them. I started off as what was then at the time called a junior consultant. And their specialty was in business process engineering. And so I was the junior consultant, which meant that I would, you know, sharpen the pencils and get the coffee and make sure all the pens were lined up next to the pads when the, you know, when the senior people had meetings with the clients. So, you know, I was studying very carefully what everybody was doing. And so I got myself some costuming, and I would study everything that they did and said, and I would mimic them. And then I would read all the books they read, and I would do all the things they did, and I would practice and practice and practice and practice every single thing that the executives in the consulting firm were doing, until one day they said, well, why don't we have Donna do some exercise they were doing for the accounting piece of this. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just running numbers off of a spreadsheet. And in the middle of all of this, the adding machine breaks. It just conks out. And but I keep going. and they say, okay, what's the total? And I looked at them and I said, I don't know. And they said, what do you mean you don't know? I said, well, this machine conked out halfway through this, but you didn't allow me to get a word in so I could tell you that had happened. You know, we like you. We're going to give you more responsibility. You were honest with us. They thought that was tremendous. I didn't make any excuses. I told them I don't know the answer because the machine was broken, and they're like, okay, you're getting more responsibility. So at that point, I was then made a consultant, regular consultant. And I was, you know, I had to go run and fetch for all kinds of data, information, everything else. And I wouldn't come back until I had it exactly as they requested it. So that worked out well. And they said, well, now you can be a senior consultant, and you can do interviews and you can do these things. And I'm like, okay. So what questions do you want me to ask them? So they give me a list of, I'm like, just give me my list to do and I'll do it. I was begging to be micromanaged, you know, micromanage me, train me, teach me, you know, I will do whatever, you know, you need. So, you know, Peter, all I basically did to get my foothold into there was the same things I did in career number one. I was the first to show up. I was the last one to leave. I did every single thing I was asked to do. I always asked questions and for advice and mentoring. And then I would go out and practice it. I didn't ask for it because I was trying to smooch up to somebody. I was asking for it because I wanted to improve myself. Because I knew if I improved myself, I would be more valuable to them. And if I'm more valuable to them, then I get to keep going and I get rewarded. Very simple. Very, very simple. And I think that they liked that unpretentious simplicity in my approach with them. I had no use for corporate politics or any of that nonsense. And when I saw that going on, I would just laugh. I thought it was very, very funny. And I would get into it. I'd say, ooh, look, acting is going on. Oh, there were no speaking parts in Swan Lake. So now I get to act. Oh, this is going to be fun. So I would watch them all twisting around and pontificating and going on and on and on. And I'd be like, ooh, maybe I'll be the one that smooths everything over. Maybe I'll be, and I would make up a role for myself. And I would sit there and start taking that on, because guess what? There are no speaking parts in Swan Lake. So everything you have to say better be said with body language. So I would sit there and I would begin to conjure. And then I would start to speak without ever opening my mouth. And then I noticed how by doing that, you could incite in these people the emotion that they needed to have. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is fun. I like this. So as time went by, and I mean, this was all within a 6-month period, I became a project manager. So I went from junior consultant to senior consultant to project manager. And they said, well, just give her the whole Just give her the whole this, and this section and let her run with it. She knows what to do. We taught her what to do, so let her run with it. So the first assignment I got, they said, well, we better only give her two areas because, we don't want her to fall on her face. And I was like, that's all right, I'll do 4. Now, I never said, that's all right, I'll do 4. I took my 2 areas, and then I noticed 2 others that had not been assigned. So I went and introduced myself to the frontline managers and did the same shtick that I did with the 2 to which I was assigned. And then the director of the project said, all right, all you PMs, come on, we're going to have a report on your areas. And I went in and I did my report on the 2 that they gave me. And they said, well, thank you, Donna, that's good. I said, oh, wait a minute. I said, these other 2 hadn't been assigned, and I thought we might want to get in front of these because they're going to be a little bigger. And they take longer on the schedule. And so we might want to get a jump start on them. And they're like, you did what? I said, these 2 areas, they weren't assigned, were they? No. Okay, well, I went ahead and got a jump start on them. Okay, well, you can have those 2 areas. So then there was a competition with the project managers. Who was going to get the highest return on investment? I'm like, well, I say to myself, me, I am. I'm going to do it. So I did. Went through another set of areas, and after that, they said, we're going to groom you to be a director. I said, okay. Those titles and everything didn't mean anything to me, Peter.
No.
They didn't mean a thing. We didn't have that ballet. Well, we had corps de ballet, and we had, a second soloist, first soloist, principal, ballerina. There's only 5 true ballerinas on the planet. That phrase is misused. But anyway, I was like, yeah, all right. Well, you're given a role. You know exactly what you're supposed to do. This is your role, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, all right. And sometimes you're first soloist, and sometimes you're second, and sometimes you're corps de ballet. But when you're the dancer, you know that, and but all of that, oh, so-and-so's a vice president. That's good. Of what? I don't care. I don't care. Is so-and-so a nice person? So know what they're talking about. Are they kind? Are they welcoming? Are they someone I can learn something from? Are they someone that will listen to me? I don't care if you're CEO or the chief waste paper basket emptier. I don't care. If you're a person that will give freely, that will interact rationally, and you're interesting, you're genuinely curious and interesting, then guess what? I want to hang out with you. I don't care what your title is. I don't care what color your skin is or any of those things. I resonate best with reality, with people that understand they are a brand. They are authentic. They are their authentic selves. That's who I choose to hang out with because it makes me feel good. There is a selfish motive. Let's face it, right, Peter? Do you want to hang out with people that make you feel like crap? No.